Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully, everybody out there is doing just fantastic. What we're going to talk about today? Well, I was watching a video yesterday of a blogger, and he touched a spot that I think a lot of people need to realize. Probably applies more to people younger than me than if you're coming to the Philippines. It probably applies more to the ones that wants to be just tourists come here for a short visit, say for 2 weeks or even a month or so. Um, and it's something that will open your eyes. As you're well aware of, several countries have made marijuana uh, more reachable for more people. More developed countries have, and which gives some travelers a false illusion it's the same no matter where they go. Well, let me forewarn you, even a small amount here will get you probably most of your life in prison. And prison in the Philippines is not where you want to be. I promise you. I've seen videos of Philippine prisons, and I recommend everybody out there that plans to come to the Philippines, that's one of the things you need to do, is look up the videos on Philippine prisons. That will enlighten you. That will encourage you to stay within their guidelines and watch every move you make. Because that's one place, as a foreigner, you don't want to be. Even if it's minor, their justice system is slow. And a lot of um, crimes, if you are arrested and not been formally charged, there's no bail. And you may wait for years, even for a court case, or even be formally charged for a court case. Like I said, it pays you to do some research before you get anything on your mind to do something wrong. Oh, God forbid. Those videos I've seen on prisons here are horrible. The conditions are horrible. I mean, it's unreal. And you don't have to take my word for it. There's plenty of videos on it. There's plenty. Anyway, if you come here, just do your best to stay on the straight and narrow. Because there's nothing more valuable than having a reasonable life. So, you know, and it can be taken away so easily, especially in not just the Philippines. I'm sure there's other countries that are very similar. I don't know which ones, but I'm sure they are. And conditions are probably just as bad. Yes. So, with that said, there's a little piece of advice I can give you, especially for the ones that are younger and are used to being with excess of the item I mentioned, weed in a lot of words. Uh, Keep in mind, you don't want to do nothing like that here. Nothing. Uh, there's a lot of laws here that, if you're unaware of, it cause you a lot of problems. Uh, Example, one of the examples. If you're a foreigner and you are talking to a lady online and you decide you're going to come here and meet her, even though she may be separated from her husband, she's still legally married. Because there's no divorce in the Philippines. Now, adultery here is a crime. And you may end up spending a long time in prison over it. Now, I do know, I have known several foreigners that have actually met up with women that has a previous husband. In most cases, they were Filipinos. And they have worked their way around doing the annulment and not had any issues. That is a possibility. But it's a very expensive way of getting them unattached or legally unbound to their spouse. It is very expensive and it's time consuming. We're not talking something that'll happen in a few months. We're talking years. And it takes a good attorney, and like I said, it's expensive. I'm glad I've not had to deal with that. But keep in mind, she happens to have a spouse, even though they might not have seen each other for years. If that spouse finds out that she's dating a foreigner, he could cause a mighty big issue. Big problem. Big problem. So be very careful out there. Very, very careful. The reason I'm doing all this, I noticed that it's been a while since I've talked about some of these items. And it seems like there's a lot, I've noticed more vloggers, stranger faces coming in. And if I just save one from having issues, it's worth the video. Another thing you need to be careful about is being around children alone. Because they have very strict laws about being around children. And also about if you're seeing a young lady, you better make sure she's over 18. You need to get a formal ID and make sure, because their laws are very strict on that. Very, very strict. I'll tell you how strict they are. I didn't have any issues. In the beginning, when we was living in Cebu, and the girls were in school, I used to take Maylin to school every morning on my motorcycle. And I just making sure she made it to school safely. And it was very convenient for her, because walking outside the subdivision where we lived, it was a pretty good little walk to get a ride. And so I would take her to school and drop her off. And because usually, if she went to school, usually between 6 and 6:30 a.m. in the morning, just a little after daylight. And I just tried to be a nice guy, been good to Grace's family. And this is before I knew about the laws about being alone with kids under 18. I was on the line one day and I run across where a foreigner had a problem with his girlfriend's kids. She actually had a job, and he was staying home with kids. Not thinking nothing of it. Just being a nice guy. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But they had a family member that didn't like him. So they caused him a lot of problems. He didn't end up staying in jail or anything, but he was drugged through the system. And it opened my eyes up. what if, at that time, I was still just been there a couple of years. Uh, what if Grace had a distant cousin or something that didn't like me or something and knew I was taking Maylin to school? So I stopped that. I didn't take her to school no more. Because I was alone with a child under 18, even though she was considered a family member. I didn't want to take chances. No, there's no doubt in my mind the family would have backed me up and kept me out of trouble, but how long would it took? How long would I had to stay in jail or whatever? How complicated would it be? How much the expense of lawyers and stuff? So I made sure I didn't have a problem. And Grace's sisters are all grown now, got their own lives, and I'm proud of them. So they've got cousins I'm also proud of, especially the girls, uh, for following through with their education and trying to put a life forward. It means a lot to me. It means I accomplished something. So making one life better means a lot. So here now locally, no, I've been here almost 17 years, and I take a lot of things for granted. But I do sit here some mornings and I look back on things that I've accomplished and how much it really pleases me knowing I've made a difference. And by doing that, a lot of times I fail to give thanks because I have had in the past few years some assistance, and it's made a big difference in lives, especially here in my community that we have grown to care so much about. And I like to reach out there and thank you guys for that. You you have made you're a blessing, more than a blessing. Uh, we have helped kids with medical a number of different times. Uh, One I can tell you about is Clifford and the little girl on the other side, which is uh, I hate when I do that. I draw the blank. Oh, life's so unfair sometimes, especially when you get older. But Gino's little baby sister, I couldn't think of Gino's name off the bat. That's sad. Anyway, we did that, and there's been a number of occasions where we have given assistance, especially in medical. And we had to pass up a deal here the other day. Speaking of assistance, there's a small piece of property in behind our chicken coop. It was offered to Grace. She mentioned it to me. I told her I'd like to have it, but it's nowhere close to being budget because there's some things we got to do. We need a new water tank for one thing, and some maintenance items to take care of. And I want to get Grace's jewelry out pawn, and we do that every now and then when we're in short of cash. And it's easy money and low risk, um, but it has come in handy. Jewelry that we have acquired over the years, some of it has tripled or quadrupled in value, and it's really helped out on a number of occasions. You just wouldn't know. So that's the only thing that we do that's it's not the end of the world. If something was happening, we couldn't actually pick it back up. But it sure has helped a lot. So I have failed to actually mention how sometimes we get extra money, but that's how we do it. Then we overtake a little period of time, paying on the principles, I would call it. In other words, getting the balance down to where we can afford to pick it up. Little things like that, but we had to pass on that little piece of property, uh, which is it's not a bad price, about $1,000 roughly, and it would have been nice to have, but we can't get above our means. Uh, that's the main thing. And we got to make another trip to Domageddon. Because we're waiting on my iCard to be returned. So we'll have to go there and pick it up, which means we'll do one night overstay. We'll pick out a place that's affordable and just spend one night. So it's just too rough for this old guy to make a round trip. It's roughly um, anywhere from 7 to 8 hours of driving, and that's just more than I want to take on. Now, I have done it in the past, but it's been a few years. It ain't even rough then. Oh, and I've got a couple items ordered that I needed, mainly to have on hand for a little van. Not expensive, tensioner bearing and set of belts. I always like to keep those on hand because those are common items for little vans. The way the engine sets in those in the low profile, uh, those items are exposed to all the road debris and so forth. Uh, so it does shorten the life on them. I've replaced the tensioner bearing over 5 years twice, 2 times. And I've actually put 2 sets of belts on each time I do the tension bearing. Make sure that's there. And the new alternator has made a big improvement. Especially about rolling the windows up and down. And the headlights are brighter. I noticed that going to church the other day on Sunday. Well, guys, hopefully I didn't bore you too much. Thank you so very much for being on board. If you're new here, naturally, it'd be nice if you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you can. And don't forget, when you're out and about, put that smile on your face. Because you might make somebody's day. It might give them a different perspective for the whole day. Who knows? But anyway, live long and prosper.